Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, and welcome to the Weekend Rush. My name is Randolph Kutcher. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Those persons joining us internationally, in the region, and right here in Guyana, thank you very much for tuning in this evening. We want to say thank you very, very much to all of you tuned in this evening, folks. I think I have let me just sort out things in the back end here, folks. We want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening. You're on to the rush, folks. Tell a friend to tune in. That we'll be on air for the next hour or so. We'll be discussing some matters of importance. As we talk with you, we'll give you an opportunity at the end of the program also to come in and share your views with us. We'll give you, of course, an opportunity to call in the program. My name is Randolph Critchlow, as I said, folks. Let us know in the comment section where you're joining us from. We want to say thank you as usual. Share the live stream, folks. You know, we always tell you that's the price of admission here. That you share the live stream with your friends and family, let them know that the weekend rush is on, and we'll be having some interesting discussion. Let us know where you're joining us from in the comment section. Linden is in the house, my hometown. I was in Linden a few weekends ago. It was last weekend actually. Wonderful time out there in the Five Corner. You guys have, sort of worked out a really good entertainment spot there at the Five Corner. Big up to the people at the Five Corner. Great entertainment on Friday and Saturday evenings. So over at the Four Corner in Wisma, that was jam packed on Friday. Thank you very much to all the people in Leyland who entertained us and welcomed us. Thank you very much for your hospitality. USA is in the house. Thank you very much for tuning in, folks. You're tuned. You're tuned to the rush, folks. And let us do it the right way, folks. You know, we like to start our program the right way. Let's unpack. Yes, we're back, folks. We are back, and thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you very much for staying tuned this evening. As we continue to bring you information, folks, of course, we like to acknowledge the people who take their time to tune into our program. Good evening to all of you. Brooklyn is in the house. Desmond Harris, thank you very much for tuning in. Good night to all of you. Good viewers, wonderful viewers joining us on YouTube. Remember, people on YouTube, do not leave without pressing the subscribe button and hitting that post notification so you know when we have live videos and whenever we post anything. Antigua, loud and clear. Queens, loud and clear. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good evening, Miss Williams. Right. Bacchus, thank you very much for tuning in. But I'm happy that you're here and you're happy to listen to the madness. Lovely to have you here. Right. So to all of the trolls, thank you very much for taking time out of your family duties tonight to come and be on the page. Thank you very much for that. We're always happy to have you here. Imagine that we're so special. Alpha, New Jersey, thank you very much for tuning in. We're so special that you have to leave your family. Your family life must be very, very, very disgusting. That you would leave your family life to come and troll our page. We appreciate that. We appreciate that we give you something to do. We give some meaning to your miserable lives every evening, whether you're tuned into Sherrod or any other program. We're happy that we give some meaning to your lives in the evening, that you can come. That you can come on our program to troll. We love it. Thank you very much. Brooklyn is in the house. Florida is in the house. See, half the people don't have my glasses. Right. Thank you very much, folks, for tuning in. Let's start, of course, folks, we know we're going to be talking about the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport this evening because I have a bone to pick. I have a serious bone to pick with the confusion that is happening at Culture, Youth and Sport there. I have a serious bone to pick with the so-called Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Ramson, who seems just that little boy, as he's referred to, who seems not to know anything about culture, youth, and sport, not to care about anything that is concerning culture, youth, and sport. Besides the picture ups and he run around and give this grown up a basketball ring or give 2 balls to this community. That's what he seems to be involved in and enamored by. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about culture in detail, specifically the culture part of culture, youth, and sport, the cultural aspect. Of course, we know cricket carnival is coming up. The big celebrations, big celebrations coming up. We got cricket, we got carnival, we got all manner of shows, we got people coming in. We have our culture on display. But what is happening at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport doesn't inspire any confidence, as if these people either care or they know what they're doing. Right? Edward, yes, we're going to keep 𝐖𝐞𝐞𝐤𝐡 alive. We're going to keep 𝐖𝐞𝐞𝐤𝐡 alive. 𝐑𝐿𝐷 can't unlive or try to hide what he would have done. But we're going to be speaking tonight about specific things that are happening at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. And I want your thoughts, folks, because I know that you will be involved. Many of you will be going to those events. Many of you will be going to those events come Cricket Carnival. I want to hear your thoughts this evening. I want to know what you're thinking. Those persons joining us from New York, thank you very much. New Jersey, Brooklyn, I often, of course, I talk about sports a lot because that's my lines. My good friends in Brooklyn, I know that you don't want Kevin Durant to leave you. I know that you don't want him to leave you. You see, I don't know what is happening with the Brooklyn Nets. Another day we're going to have that discussion, but I'm praying that he stays with you. I don't see where he can go, But we're going to talk sports. I'm hoping, folks, since the beginning of the year, we were hinting at that this sports show that we want to start, and we want to engage you on that level for those persons who are in love with sports like myself. Right, so the good folks, Chicago, thank you very much for tuning in. Queens, New York, thank you very much for tuning in. Brooklyn, Brooklyn. Every time I say Brooklyn, I remember the Nets. Y'all keep y'all fingers crossed as Kevin Katie wouldn't leave. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, for those persons who are in the Caribbean, of course, we've been watching all that that would have played out in the Commonwealth Games, the World Championships, the Caribbean shining brightly at the World Championships, of course, led by the mighty Jamaicans. Guyana, our athletes doing fairly well, not as good as they should be doing, because of course there are a lot of things that need to be put in place here in Guyana for our athletes to shine, and that's a major topic. I think I need some people from the GOA and the Athletics Federation to come and talk about what is needed. Whether that sport policy that has been on the table for so many years is the answer to Guyana moving up when it comes to sports. I have my own opinions about what is required if we are going to shine like the Jamaicans. We're going to make strides like the Trinidadians, right? Are we going to compete like the Bahamians? Our sister countries in the Caribbean are investing in these sports. They're investing in their young people. Right? There's this sports is serious business from the school system, where it is incorporated into the curriculum. There are coaches at those schools. These children are groomed and they're transitioned into clubs. And those clubs are supported by corporate entities. And they're world-class competitions, they're world-class coaches, they're world-class training mechanisms, their world-class training facilities, and that now allows those athletes to run world-class times and throw world-class distances. So now they're eligible to compete in these big meets. they're eligible for scholarships and they go on these international circuits. But it starts with the investment. It starts with the government of the day taking sports seriously. Right? I mean, we take everything in context. We take everything in context because we have to take care of the basic needs of the people before we go running behind all manner of things, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But it's important that we pay significant attention to culture, youth, and sport. And it cannot be a hodgepodge. We put some money here, we put some money in this ground, we fix this basketball court, and we don't invest in a structure that sees our school system designed in such a way where athletes are produced at that level. We cannot have it like that. It has to be a strategic investment in ensuring that we get coaches and facilities in our school and a curriculum that allows for students to take part in these activities at the school level. And then how do we transition them out of that school atmosphere, that school environment, right? How do we transition them out of that school environment into the clubs? How are we supporting the clubs? We have one synthetic track in this country. I want you to wrap your mind around that. One synthetic track. And for those athletes who not in Lenora, who got to travel to Lenora to actually practice on a synthetic track, all of the others are training on grass when the entire world runs on synthetic track. So when our athletes, go to these international meets, the little training that they might get on the synthetic track is not enough. But so we have to think about these things. It has to be a strategic investment in sport, in ensuring that we get world-class facilities, world-class coaching, and so we can produce world-class athletes. If not, we are just wasting our time. I am fed up. I know I was chatting. Good night to you. Good night to you, Candy. Thank you very much for tuning in. I was chatting with a friend the other day, and he said, he is fed up. He's fed up hearing, the athletes they make it out to the heats. We are looking at the World Championships, and we were so excited. And one of our athletes make it out to the first round, make it out to the heats to go into the second round. And we get a sense of national pride when that happens. Imagine if we were producing athletes of world-class caliber who are competing on that international stage and making this country proud. Imagine the amount of national pride that you'll see out of this country. Because sports, for me, has an ability to transcend everything that's happening in the country. Sports has that ability to transcend politics, race, creed, class, culture, everything, and bring people together. We're looking at what has been happening with Jamaica. Jamaica is a perfect example of how you develop your sporting fraternity from the ground up. And it calls for serious people with serious investment. And I will say this without you being able to contradict me. Anybody, I can challenge anybody on this. Without fear of successful contradiction, that we, as a country, both APNU and PPP, have failed when it comes to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. I have no apologies for that. We have constantly treated the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport as that ministry where you send people who you want to give them a position. I say this without any regrets. That both the APNU AFC and the PPP over the years would have failed in their selection. I have nothing against the people who would have served there. They might be intellectuals, they might be smart, they might have good intentions. But if you do not put a Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport who has a passion who has a background and a passion for culture, youth, and sport, invariably, you're setting them up for failure. Invariably, you're setting them up for failure. So I have no regret in saying that. And we can look back. Let's look back. We had 𝐤𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐻 one time as the Minister of Culture, Youth, and Sport. Frank Anthony, Nicolette Henry, Charles Ramson, right? George Norton. Quite frankly, none of those people, as far as I know, would have had any background in culture, youth, or sport. And so I'm not in this conversation, I'm not targeting anybody, but I'm calling it as I see it. I'm calling it as I see it. And we have failed culture. We have failed the youth. We have failed our sportsmen and women in this country, simply by how we have treated that particular ministry. The word in the grapevine is that Ramson didn't want to be there. Of course he didn't want to be there. If you spent your life, you're a lawyer, you went and you studied oil and gas and all these things, of course you're setting yourself up to become the Minister of Natural Resources as Ghana moves towards being an oil-producing nation. And so your party take you and dash you at culture, youth, and sport. This isn't your background. This isn't your passion. You have no interest in it. You're not going to be as driven as you should be to ensure that things happen in that ministry. You're like a fish out of water. Again, I say, right? Yes, Candy, we're going to have a call-in tonight, and I want to hear your views. Right? I want to hear your views. But I believe that we have failed. We have failed. Both administrations would have failed when it comes to culture, youth, and sport. Granted, I say that some programs that I would have seen, whether it's under the PPP or the AP and UFC, would have tried in some sort of way to advance this idea of culture, youth, and sport. Right? But we have failed when it comes to the personnel. Every single one of those persons who would have served as Minister of Culture, Youth, and Sport are intelligent people. And I want to make that clear. Every single one of those persons, from 𝐤𝐫𝐻𝐻 to Frank Anthony, right? To Nicolette Henry, to George Norton, to Charles Ramson. I'm just calling the last 5. They are intelligent people. That doesn't mean that they are suited for that job. And I want to make that clear. I want to make that clear. Your background, your passion, your interest says a lot about whether or not you are able, or you will be able, to do justice to that particular ministry. So I say that without fear of successful contradiction. But the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport needs somebody who is passionate about it. And before I move on to what is actually happening at the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport, I want to posit something that has been floating around, and from my research, it has been something that has been considered in the past. And I say this, I say that, and I say it in jest, I say it jokingly, but it's serious. Sports is a young people thing. So I have proposed in the past that you have a Ministry of Youth and Sport. Old people don't play sports. After you pass about 30 something, your prime gone. Your youthful age, your youthful days are behind you. Sports is for young people. So it makes sense for the Ministry of Youth and Sport to be coupled. I believe that the cultural part of the ministry needs to be coupled with the Ministry of Education. Right? The Ministry of Education, because when we talk about our culture and transmitting our culture, our oral tradition, our dance, our food, our music, that is a part of the education. You're educated about our culture. I believe that the Ministry of Education is, this could be debated. People may have their own opinion. I believe that culture needs to be on the education, and that youth and sport should be a standalone ministry. That's just my thought. But as we say that, folks, let's move on. Let's move on to what is actually happening right now. Yes, of course, old people can still play golf. I do agree with you. Old people can play golf. As I said when I said the issues that I say it in jest, but there's some sort of truth to it, that sports is primarily a young people thing, right? The majority of sports played, especially competitive sports, are done in your prime, your youthful ages, your 20s and your 30s and your teens. When you get to my age, when you're late 30s, it's time for you to start moving away from a sport. If you want to make it as an athlete, and you're 35, as my friend is saying in the comment, I think you should try golf. Don't worry any other sport. Try golf, right? If you're going to, let me see if I can read some of the comments. Right, Burnham Park, right, overtaken by bushes. All right, we're gonna look into that. Unfortunately, sports in Guyana reflect the society. Right, and that's an interesting topic. There are some sports that are easy for people to get into because it doesn't require a lot of special equipment. Right, a set of people are able to play certain sports because they have the means to afford the equipment. I don't know when last you checked the price of a badminton racket or a lawn tennis racket. It's very pricey, right? But football is easy. Even cricket for some persons, gears are very expensive. And so, as we say this, these are things that we need to start thinking about. I know that the sport policy has been worked on, and there is a sport policy. I do not know what work has been done in the last 2 years to advance that sport policy and have it laid in the parliament and be a part of it. But I know that a draft sport policy would have been created. And forgive me if I'm not as informed as to where the sport policy is right now, but I know that work has been done on it. But as I say this, people, I remind you that in order for us to really advance in sports, we need to invest. We need to invest. I know that there are so many things happening in the country right now, but I think that we cannot take our eyes off of the ball, especially in this season. In this season where you're going to be seeing a lot of cultural activities. Right? As September looms, we're going to be having the Education Month, we're going to be having Carnival, we're going to be having American Heritage Month, and so there are a number of cultural activities that are going to be happening, and we need to keep our eyes on the ball. All right, folks, let's get into it. What is happening at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport? And I was on my colleague's program the other night, Sher Duncan. I was in the ring, and I was talking about this issue that has been brewing for the last few days. As it relates to the cricket carnival. Right? Lorian says that I agree with you, Randy. Sports starts in school, therefore the Ministry of Education should play a major part in supporting our youth. It needs a complete overhaul, trust me. There's need for a complete overhaul of how we approach and how we deal with and how we invest in sport in Guyana. And as you said, you're right, it needs to start in the school system. I remember, folks, when I was coaching the female under 16 netball team or national netball team. And we went to Barbados to play in the Caribbean under 16 championships. Netball isn't that big in Guyana. Netball has suffered a terrible fate over the last few years where it's basically non-existent right now. But we arrived in Barbados and we were moving around. We were going to the market and stuff. The people on the minibuses, they were excited that there's a netball competition going on. Barbados playing St. Lucia today. And I was taken aback because our sister country, this sport is so big in that country where it is the talk of the town. It is the talk of the town. And I got to realize that in the school system in Barbados and most of the Caribbean countries, these girls play netball. It's a part of the school system. It's a part of their PE program. They have competitions. They have school competitions when they leave the schools. They transition into clubs. They have club competition. If they are working, there are corporate competitions that happen between banks and agencies. And then, of course, because of that, your talent pool is wide. So when it comes to selecting athletes now for your national team, these are girls who would have been playing this sport since primary school. And so you cannot help but have a good, solid pool of athletes to choose from. And that model can be extended to all sports and athletics. All right? Let me see what Chris is saying. Chris is saying, my true investment in our people, especially our children, right? We have outstanding children who crave nurturing. Right, that is so true. We need the right equipment and facilities. And that is where the investment must go. Right? That is where the investment must go. But I'm saying, I told you that story to say to you, basically, we have to adopt that model of starting young and investing in our school system, investing in coaches for our schools, investing in facilities. Every single school should have a sporting facility. At the bare minimum, it should have a functional sports ground. Even if you don't have the best in terms of equipment, but there should be a space where we want to play. If we want to play some football, we can. There are so many schools that have grounds right now, but they're not well kept. They're filled with holes. And so it is not an encouraging environment for students after school say, we're going to play some games. Right? Right. I'm loving the comments, folks. I'm loving your discussion, your contribution on this particular topic. But let's switch our focus to culture. We say ministry. Cork says, plus you have to pay the athletes. Now, and that's a different tier. That's a third level of investment where we can have a national pool and where the government steps in and says, you know what? You are a world-class caliber athlete, and we are going to take care of you in these ways. Whether we give you a stipend, whether we take care of your insurance, we take care of your equipment, somehow the government has to play a significant role in ensuring that those athletes that are making international times are able to represent us to the best, that they don't have to wake up in the morning and go work a GPL and they're tired and they can't train in the afternoon. And so that comes with the structure, Kirk. That comes with the structure. And once you have that in place, you'll see. Because at the end of the day, there are models that we can look at. Our neighbors in the Caribbean are doing it. So it's not rocket science at this point in time. The data is there, the evidence is there, the structure is there in other countries right next to us that we can adapt and think about. At the end of the day, it all starts with having the money to do it. And as we are coming into our wealth as it relates to oil, that is a clear opportunity for us to be able to go forward and do these things. All right? But I'm a firm believer in fixing the obvious first. We can get to sports and all that and investment. But let's ensure that our people have food to eat. Let's ensure that the roads that we're driving on don't bend your tire. Right? Let's ensure that those things are done. Right, folks? Good. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Now, let's get to culture, folks. Now, there is a serious matter playing out at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport that I want to bring light to. As you come on, folks, share the live stream. Jamal Aziz, thank you very much for tuning in. As you come on, share the live stream. Now, it has been reported, folks, in many corners, I don't know if you heard, that there is an advisor to the Minister of Culture, a cultural advisor to the Minister. That is a position at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. That person, apparently, as it was reported to me, is Miss Alana Sibaran. Now, Miss Alana Sibaran was Miss India Worldwide 2012. All right? As far as my research goes, she would have been part of the Nitri-Git dancers, the Indian dancers, and she went into a pageant and she won that pageant, Miss India Worldwide. That's all I know. What I know now is that she is acting in the capacity of cultural advisor to the minister. How I know this is that recently there was an audition for local artists who want to take part in the Guyana Night as part of the Cricket Carnival celebrations. There is a Guyana Night. Reports are that Ms. Alana Sibaran, along with one Mr. Sobers and Mr. Tyndall, conducted an audition for local artists. And as far as the word getting to us is that it doesn't matter, it didn't matter if you are a recognized artist or a no-come, you had to audition. So people like Kwesi Ace and Joe Mo and Calvin and all these recognized, again, this is what the word is that we're getting. Right? Reports are that these artists had to subject themselves to an audition also, as if these people on the panel, these three people, headed by the advisor on culture, Ms. Sibaran, don't know these local artists. Apparently they don't know, they've never heard of these local artists. They had to audition to be part of a show. Now, here is the kicker. The kicker is that Ms. Alana Sibaran happens to be the wife of the minister. So Alana Sibaran happens to be Charles Ramson's wife. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Right? Yes. Sadie, I was coming to it. I was coming to that very important point. That she's the wife of the minister. So it's a family affair. It's a family affair. That's the kicker, you know. And Mr. Alana Sibaran happens to be the wife of the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport. So, Charles Ramson, that petty little boy, apparently has his wife who is now allegedly the cultural advisor to the minister, running auditions. Right? Ms. Hudson, I want to read this comment, but we're going to get back to that. Ms. Grant says conflict of interest. Yo, imagine, folks. And this is why I am upset with people. There are people in this country that don't know what to be angry about. They are worried about a handshake. When a minister got his wife as the cultural advisor, allegedly, running auditions, even if she is not the cultural advisor or whatever it is. I don't know if the position that the designation is correct, but she was running the auditions. We worried about the handshake, and we up in arms about the handshake. But our artists are being subjected to an audition in front of the minister's wife so that to see if they can perform at the Guyana night. Friends, families, and favorites, according to our viewers. Now, let me say this. My research did not reveal anything that qualifies Ms. Ciberan to act in the capacity as the cultural advisor to the minister, outside of her being a part of a pageant and apparently knowing how to dance. So that's the first thing. Now I want you to imagine this, a scenario. Let's just say, my good friends, that Nicolette Henry, when she was the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, had her husband or her daughter as the cultural advisor to the minister. Imagine the noise the ministry, the PPP would have made. Right? Right. Kirk saying she's also a talent scout. Where? When? What qualifies you to be a talent scout? I'm a talent scout. I know talent when I see it. I also know somebody who is ill-suited for a position when I see it. I also know that the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport doesn't want to be there, and he's not passionate about it. Right? Just take the ministry. But that is not all, folks. That is not all. Yes, the ministry would, the PPP would have raised hell, according to Ms. Thomas. Right? Yeah, the spectator here, thank you very much. We know that your family life is miserable, so you have to find some entertainment in the night. Thank you very much for coming on to our program. It's an honor to have you here. Continue. At least we're giving your life some meaning tonight. Yes. I'm saying to you folks that the PPP would have been up in arms if it was Nicolette Henry who had her husband as the cultural advisor. Think about it. And that's why I say some of us ain't know what to get angry about. Some of us ain't know what to get angry about. You're worried about the handshake. When the people shaking down the poor people in this country every day, it's a shakedown. You know? It's a shakedown. Friends, families, and favorites, according to Sharon. But that is not all, folks. You think that is all? That he has his wife running auditions? That's not all. So according to the artists, not according to anybody else, these are the artists who reach out to me. The ministry told them that they will be paid for the Guyana night performance if the gates make money. You ever hear madness like that? Which artists, which international artists you could go to and tell them, come and perform in Guyana, and if the gates make money, they will be paid. But the Guyanese artists, you could disrespect them like that. You could disrespect them like that. Tell me which international artist the minister or his wife could go to carnival, man. And if the gates make money, you're going to get paid then. Right? You'll get paid then. What utter trash. And I'm saying tonight, if local artists would subject themselves to such disrespect and go and perform without being paid, then you're looking for whoever y'all get after them. You're looking for whatever you get after that. Because the ministry can't come to me and tell me come and perform anyway and tell me if the gate make money, I can get paid. And if local artists turn up and perform under those circumstances, then something wrong with them. Now we hear all kind of artists coming in. Paris Hammond, Marshall Montano, Spice, people hinting at Burna Boy coming in. All manner of artists. The ministry decided, you know what? We don't want the local artists at these international shows. We're going to create a Guyana night. Now, a Guyana night in itself is a good idea. But which show you think will be the poorest as it relates to attendance? You think that the Guyana night could compete with Spice? You think the Guyana night could compete with Marshall? You think the Guyana night could compete with Burna Boy? So Guyanese artists are looking at an event that might not even pull the amount of people. And then you're telling them, look, well, if y'all pull the people to the gates, that's where y'all get paid. Right? Folks, I am always surprised at the level of disrespect that people take in this country. For fear of being blacklisted, for fear of being victimized, ostracized, left out, fired. That is why the PPP will continue to trample on your rights because you're afraid. No, let me tell you this. Whoever it is that relayed that message to the artists, I would tell them right away, you go and tell the minister that he could come over perform at Guyana night if he want. But if we are performing, we are going to be paid. Whoever it was, right away the artist should have said to that person, go and tell the minister. And if Guyanese artists are going to perform, they will be paid. Now we know, and let me say this, it might seem as if I'm extra passionate about this because this is the world that I come from. This is the world that I come from. Before my involvement in politics, I was an artist, I was a poet, I was a playwright, I was an actor. I still do some of those things. I probably don't act as much right now, but I still write. So those people are my people, I know them. The singers and the dancers, the actors, the poets. I know them and I know the work that they put in to perform and to be able to entertain at a particular level. And when you treat them like that, that is how they make their money. It's already not enough because I'm telling you, almost all of those artists got some other job. There are few of them who survive on the entertainment sector in Guyana. Few of them. Aubrey said, let them sign a contract. And I want to say to Aubrey and the others who are concerned about the fact that artists are not being represented in this country. I want to say to them that we have decided that we're going to form an action group, especially in light of what happened over the past few weeks. Artists of Guyana Action Group. And we are going to be offering representation, legal and otherwise, to those artists. Because as it is, where can the artists turn to? Which body represents them? There is no union. The ministry obviously don't care about local artists. And so we are going to be, in the next few weeks, you're going to be hearing about that. But I want your thoughts. I want your thoughts on this entire debacle. I want your thoughts on what is happening at the Ministry of Culture. And folks, as I say this and I get ready to take your calls, I want you to understand that this is just one aspect of the craziness that is happening at Culture, Youth and Sport. I haven't even started to talk yet about all of the night schools that they closed down. I haven't even started to talk yet the fact that, as reported, there is an office in Culture, Youth and Sport that houses hits and jams. So our cultural, anything cultural in this country, apparently has to pass through the minister's wife and hits and jams, as reported. That's not me saying this. These are the allegations. Right? So the ministry hits and jams. You have an entertainment company whose only role is to figure out how they can make as much money as possible from entertainment, with an office in the Ministry of Culture. So any little thing coming through, any little activity, they got their fingerprints on. Your dollars. Your dollars. Folks, I want your thoughts. 617-0244. Give us a call. 617-0244. And let us know your thoughts. I think we have a caller right away. Oh, that call. We lost that caller. 617-0244. Give us a call. And, of course, we're talking about culture, youth, and sports. We're talking about artists. We're talking about sports and athletics. What is happening in Guyana? Right? What is happening in this country? Give us a thought. Give us a call. 617-0244. 617-0244. Give us a call. Let us hear your thoughts. Sadie says, I hope good sense prevails. Every local performer should boycott. Listen, if the ministry does not change that position, I do not see how local artists should turn up and perform. I do not see it. All right? Payment to perform is based on their ethnicity. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to co-sign that. I do not know. Right? Yes, we have talent. Now, Guyana Spectator, get from here with that stupidness. About $500 million given to develop blacks in Guyana. But $300,000. Now, let me deal with this stupidness because Barrett Jagdeo, who I feel don't got no sense, come and throw out the piece of garbage and people running with it. Now, let me say this to you. The International Decade for People of African Descent, Guyana, 𝐼PADG, is an organization, of course, that the APNU ALC would have gone to Parliament and ensured that they get a subvention every year from the government, around $100 million. And I want people who are listening, when people come like Guyana Spectator with stupidness, let them know the facts. Now, Jagdeo, because he's so upset about this apartheid word that is being used by the Coffee 250 group, come on the press conference to talk a whole lot of rubbish about the amount of money given to 𝐬𝐿. Over the 5-year period, yes, 100 million, we gave them 300 million, and the PPP gave them 200 million, and they come up to $500 million. There's over a 5-year period. Now, let me read the comment, because apparently people like the other spectator could only parrot things and don't think for themselves. So I can start thinking for y'all, right? I can start thinking for you because, you know, when you hear intellectually lazy, you run, oh, be calling people dunce. You're behaving like a dunce. Now, $300,000. But think for yourself, people. I need you to think for yourself. Now, 𝐬𝐿 is not a bank. It's not a loan agency. They gave out 300,000 in grants. Because that was the number, that's the amount of grants that they give out. That is not their mandate to give out grants. That is not their mandate to give out grants. You can't give an organization $100 million a year and expect them to give out grants. The Small Business Bureau is supposed to give out grants. That's where you're supposed to go for grants from. Now, 𝐬𝐿 has to pay rent. They got to pay their staff. They got other programs that they're running. Coming up this month, they'll be holding another 𝐢𝐿 up, where small entrepreneurs can come and display their products. But 𝐷𝐿, of course, throughout this silly number, about 300,000 in grants, yes, they give out a small amount of grants, but that's just a part of what they do. They have a whole lot of other programs and projects that they do. Why didn't 𝐷𝐿 tell you that when the PPP cut the funding for the night school, it was the same 𝐬𝐿 from trying to take out some of the money, the little bit of money, that the 100 million that they got a year to support the night schools that the PPP cut the money from. 𝐷𝐿 didn't sit down yesterday and therefore yesterday say that. Tell the people that. Tell the people that all the other projects that 𝐬𝐿 was doing, right? You can talk wherever you want. An organization has to pay their staff. You think they're like the PPP who don't pay their staff properly? Of course, 42 million went to paying staff, yes. Over 5 years, how much you think them pay staff? $2 million to pay staff over 5 years? So the other spectator, as I said to you just now, get from here with that stupidness. You're on the wrong program. I got the facts. You need to go to Congress Place at Congress Place at Freedom House. Don't go to Congress Place. They can chase you even worse than me. Because you're coming in like a troll. Right? You come here like a troll, you come to the wrong place. Right? Yes, the other spectator. I was ready for you. I was ready for you. 42 million in salaries, yes. Tell them how long? 5 years. 5 years. How much you think I spend in 5 years? 2 million in salaries? Get from here. They might chase you now from Freedom House, because I'm sure they like you, they even know you. Get from here. 5 people. Get from here with that lie to. It's not 5 people. Go and find out how much people 𝐬𝐿 is employ. A whole big building of people. Wrong program, boy. Wrong program. 6170244. Give me a call. Give me a call. Give me a call, folks. Right? Yeah. When Ramson cut the night school, who you think they paying for the night school? Is 𝐬𝐿? Is 𝐬𝐿? He thought that he was paying for the night school. Right? Wrong program, sir. You need to call. You need to start messaging on critic program. Don't come here. Don't come wrong with funny. Get from here. Now let's move on. Now we are coming very, very close to the end of the program. 617-0244. Give us a call. Can't spectate to give me a while. 617-0244 if you have any thoughts on what is happening with college youth in sport. Folks, keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your eyes on the ball. Right? There'll be a lot of things happening in the coming days, in the coming weeks, as it relates to our local artists and representation. I need you to keep your eyes on the ball. I know there are many things happening in the country, and our colleagues in the other programs, they do a very good job at highlighting them. They're in the ring. What's his name, Rickford Burke and Cam's TV in the morning, and Mark Benchcup. They do a very good job at highlighting them. Right? Caller, good evening. You're on the rush. Have your say this evening. Hello? We lost that person again. Lost that person again. Right? I think we're getting that caller now. Caller, good evening in the rush. Have your say.
Hi, Randy. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night, Randy.
Good night, good night. Go ahead.
Yeah. What is going on in this country, really, Randy? I'm very appalled about it. I want to know why Barra Jagdeo is blatantly taking the ice past the guy, these people in this country here. Why doesn't he want to change the list?
No, but
he don't want to take off the dead people from the list, right? So what is the problem there?
They want to use the list to do skullduggery. That's what they want.
It's very upsetting.
They want to use the list to
because,
do their own skullduggery.
Okay, so so let me ask you this though. So if the list is not going to change, he wants to let the names of the deceased people remain there, then I think he should continue the deceased people the pension, continue giving them the pension as well as if they're on the list. So the family can collect the pension and use it if the dead people are not coming off the list. Give the people them the pension still.
Yep.
Another thing, what are you talking about? Oh, people should what? He's talking about people who commit crimes, as like Boston. He commit crime and he's not taking action for his wrongdoing. Exactly. He's telling people must face the consequences for their action and their wrongdoing. Now he should be investigated, and he's up there on his high horse. That's untouchable, and nobody's doing anything about that. But the fastest thing that they could do is lock up the small man and them quick. And they're doing all the wrong things on top there from the head come down. They're the biggest criminal up there. The another one, Ali, he's gonna look into what? He's gonna do what? Protection for everybody. He have 90 for a charge. And I can't understand still how in my right mind I can't grasp this idea around my mind. Because in the Constitution, there's no way that person's supposed to be actually president or, a presidential candidate in the election. He's not even supposed to be close to the election. And then he should be elected as the president. 19 fraud charges. Then Ali, the next one. Nanadal, he had fraud charges too. Ashley Singh had fraud charges too.
It's a whole fraud cabinet. It's a whole fraud cabinet.
A whole set of them, Randy. Why is it not going like that for them? So they feel that they could get away with anything. Anything they could do. They could kill people. They could murder people. They could rob people. Do people wrong things and get away with this nonsense. The PPP have to get a grip on itself, and I think we need to get them out of there quickly. Because it's more, every day you go by, everybody punishing more and more and more. The one with the Chinese landing. Barra Jagdeo has nothing to say about that. He's telling the people that the foreign investor has the right to go there and mine. And these people are already there on that land for years. Years, and they protested the other day for that, and nobody paid no mind to these people. And these people have mouth to feed. What these investors is stupid Jackdale, what he giving them illegally too, and they're coming in our country and telling the people them where to go and running them off of their own land that they have in black and white written document that they are the owner of these lands. So you think that is right? You think that in any other country this could be happening? So the PPP is on nonsense, and in Granger time I have never seen none of this stupidity going on with Granger time. Granger time we had the nice life. We could have walked in peace. We could have,
my friend,
well with each other and be peaceful with each other and not worried about somebody killing you, somebody shooting you, somebody robbing you. You didn't have to do that. Everything that the APNU did. Another thing that's appalling me very much and makes me frustrated is every project that Granger did. You know, these PPP people, I'm taking all the credit for that and say that they did that. And they're saying the APNU never do nothing.
I hear you.
Nothing in the APNU never do. Randy, this is very, very upsetting. Thank you so much, Randy. Have a good night.
Thank you very much for calling in. All right, my friend. All in good time. Trust me, the APNU AFC will be back, and we're going to right those wrongs. Let me say this. Let me point out one other thing as it relates to the ecology issue and this issue with money that Jack Dio seems so upset about. Folks, I firmly believe, and this is why I have never felt that Jack Dio and the people get any sense. I can say just a rock. That's just a right to say. This is how they got sensitive money. That's what they got sensitive thief money. Now imagine there's an organization that's holding a public discussion on what they term an emerging apartheid state in Guyana. And you got so upset by the use of this word apartheid, you came to your press conference with a flyer. You come and you start talking about how much money this organization get in, how much money Alexander get in, and how much who do work for black people, and all set of foolishness. And got people like Guy the Spectator coming on live and talk about things that he does not know, just because they hear some numbers. Oh, $500 million to develop black people. 5 years, it's only $100 million a year. That's $100 million. Almost half of which is administrative costs. You are going to find projects to do other things. Now, let me say this. That it is so blatant and so plain. This is my estimation, you know. I believe that Jack Deal came on that press conference to talk about this money and to suggest that the money is not being used properly so that he can go to Parliament to cut the subvention to this organization that's supposed to be looking after the people. That organization, of course, here the name ecology. I believe he has all intentions to cut the subvention, and look out for it. Because this is his modus operandi. He knows nothing else but vendetta and pettiness. Now, instead of reaching out to this organization, bringing them in, say, you know what? I'm concerned about your characterization as of the country as a creeping apartheid state. What is it that this government can do better in your eyes so that you don't see us as an apartheid government? No, instead of doing that, instead of taking the smart way out, right? You take the abusing way out. Because that's what you know. For abuse, you come and abuse about how much money the organization get in. $100 million. $500 million, you said. 300 million under we. 220 million under y'all. And then you went on to start to hint that the money isn't being used properly. so that your supporters could hold on to that stupid lie and run with it. Right? You come abuse out at your press conference instead of doing the smart thing. Because all you want is to go to parliament and say, hey, we're cutting these people money. Because the people, an organization, not even the 𝐖𝐤𝐻, not even 𝐖𝐤𝐻 holding the discussion on apartheid state. It's the Coffee 250, not 𝐖𝐤𝐻. But this is your reaction. This is 𝐷𝐿's reaction. And I want you to keep your eyes on it, people. I want you to understand that he has basically telegraphed his move. He has telegraphed his move. Came to the press conference with the numbers for the something million in salaries, and then went on to hint and ask questions about where is this money going, as if he doesn't know. As if he doesn't know that when they cut the night school funding, it was the same organization that was trying to keep the night school open. But he wants to create the idea that these people aren't using the money properly, so he can go to parliament and cut it as a vindictive move because the people calling his government an apartheid government. It's like, you're going to call us that? Yeah, well, we're going to cut y'all money. Right? That is it. I want you to keep your eyes on it. They don't have any other strategy other than vendetta and pettiness. Right? Other than vendetta and pettiness, and this is his nature. He and Ramson cut from the same cloth. Ramson, that petty little boy who always got emotional damage from something that somebody said. But that is his modus operandi, and look out for it, folks. Look out. Trust me, you're going to see parliament. You're going to try and cut the money. You think they care? This is the same organization, the same government, the same PPP government that refused to give AGDA any money for the emancipation celebration. And you are upset when people call your government a creeping apartheid government? Your actions are basically telling us that that is what you are. So don't be upset and come to the press conference to throw out numbers and views. Go and try and figure out why is it that people may characterize you as an apartheid government. It's because of your actions. It's exactly because of actions like what you're doing at the press conference. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that's playing out with 𝐷𝐿. The organization characterized what is happening in Guyana as a creeping or an emerging apartheid. Not 𝐖𝐤𝐻, mind you, but the Coffee 250 group. Your reaction to that is to try to set the foundation to go and cut the funding for another organization that is connected to that one. You're basically doing exactly what apartheid governments do. And I want you people to mark my word. The PPP is going to come to the parliament and suggest and move a motion so that the subvention that's going to that organization is be cut. Mark Doris says action speaks louder than words. And as you say that, I want to end on this idea. I want to end on this conversation as we're talking about emerging apartheid and the actions, the petty vindictive actions of the 𝐷𝐿-led PPP. It's not the Ali-led PPP, you know. The 𝐷𝐿-led PPP is what is causing the problems. This same organization, this same apartheid organization, according to the Coffee 250 group. Now let's talk about actions. Being louder than words. And I ask you as I wrap up my program this evening, what is One Guyana? Right? As Thomas said, the irony. Yes, it's very ironic that people are characterizing you as an emerging apartheid, and you go ahead and do exactly the thing that apartheid governments do. They're going to try and cut the funding. I'm telling you that. But I want you to answer me. Maybe the PPP people who are on this live can answer me, because I need to know, what is One Guyana? What is it? This is a phone, right? This is a cup. Big up to Manchester City. Drew today with Newcastle, sad, but this is a mouse, right? This is a tie. What is One Guyana? What is One Guyana? I say it to you this evening, folks. It is nothing but a slogan. It is empty. It is vacuous. It has no sort of policy program, anything behind it. It is just a slogan. Now, I want you to compare that with what was before 2020. The APNU AFC folks had a Ministry of Social Cohesion. It was a ministry. If I ask you what is the Ministry of Social Cohesion, you can tell me it's a ministry with a minister. He had programs and staff and policies and projects and a budget. All of these things working together to achieve social cohesion and unity. And that idea of One Guyana, the PPP has replaced all of that. That entire ministry, the budget, the staffing, the people, the projects, the programs, everything, they have replaced all of that with a slogan. How are you achieving? Are you serious about unity in this country? If you disband the Ministry of Social Cohesion and replace it with a slogan, I want you to understand how vacuous the thinking of the PPP is. No sort of any sort of thing behind it. They have replaced a ministry with a slogan, Facebook posts, speeches, banners, billboards, flyers. That is how they intend to bring the country together. And as you do all of that, you run around the country with these banners, slogans, and flyers. Your administration at the regional and the NDC level and the central government level are all of these ministries, their complaints about discrimination and inequality and inequity. So we should be distracted with the slogans and the banners and the flyers, whilst you do what you want to do in the ministry, and you give whoever you want, and you fire whoever you want, and you allocate the resources to your people. But the world should be distracted by these flyers and slogans and banners. Right? Do not be distracted, Guyanese. Let us keep our heads in the game. Let us keep our minds focused on what is really happening. Do not be distracted by the dances and the flyers and the speeches. Mark said that action speaks louder than words. Don't get distracted with sloganeering. and propaganda. Let's focus on what is happening. Folks, on that note, keep your eyes on what is happening at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Lots more will be happening. You'll be seeing me. Do not worry. And to those artists, you cannot continue to accept disrespect. I think we have one more caller before we leave this evening. Caller, good evening. Hello? Good evening.
Hello, boss. Good night.
Good night.
Good evening. Why want to say that about Jack Give and everybody should go in prison? Because from the time somebody do something wrong, a little man do something wrong and ready for putting in the prison. So I glad let him go jail, man. If finally in Jack Give all them. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say, sir.
But the little man struggling all the time, folks. The system is not designed to prosecute those elites. I saw a picture recently. My system wasn't working properly. I wanted to put up, and somebody captioned the picture. The elites get fat on our money. There was a picture with all of them, 𝐤𝐫𝐢 and the Sarah Lynch and all of these government officials eating big at a fancy restaurant. Whilst we got to figure out what going to be pot tomorrow. But folks, on that note, keep your eyes on the ball. Let's continue to work together for national development. My name is Randolph 𝐸𝐞𝐞𝐤𝐡. Thank you very much for your engagement in the program this evening. We're going to, I keep promising our good folks that we're going to have a program, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to definitely do it next month, where we are going to be talking sports, only sports, because that's a topic that is dear to me, and I want to be able to engage you on that. There's lots that have to be done in this country to bring our athletes to a particular level and kind of fix the system from the school system all the way up to our pro athletes. But I want to thank you very much for your company this evening. Thank you very much. Do share the live stream. Do not just go and leave it there. You can share it on your Facebook group, your WhatsApp group, so other persons can get the opportunity to see it as we go. Right. Thank you very much, those persons who join us. Let's continue to work together for national development, folks. As I always say, be well, be safe. You enjoy the rest of your evening.